And welcome to Pod Launch Coaching, where new podcasters turn ideas into real shows that actually get finished. This channel is for anyone who wants to start simple and learn from someone who built a podcast from ground zero. No fancy team, no big budget, no big names, just a boy and his microphone and a bunch of ideas spinning through his head constantly and no real plan, just trial, error, and a lot of lessons along the way. Here, you'll get practical tips, real stories, honest takes on what works and what doesn't in podcasting. And of course, in my opinion, from my vast experience over the last few years, think of it as advice from a friend who's been through the messy middle, made mistakes, and kept going. Kind of like when you're going through a divorce and you call that one or two friends that are in the friend group that have already been divorced. Kind of like that. You trust them, you trust their experience, they've been through it, so you're gonna lean on them kind of for pick their brain a bit. Think of it like that. So whether you're recording in your closet or your living room or maybe in your bedroom, trust me, I started in my bedroom. I get it. You'll find something here to help you take the next step. So make sure you subscribe, learn a little, laugh a little, and let's get your podcast from idea to on air together, helping new podcasters launch with confidence and clarity. And that is what Pod Launch Coaching is. And I'm Coach Jay. And I'm super excited to make this very first video on what the heck pod launch coaching is. Because I, for one, am very excited about what pod launch coaching is. I mean, I may be biased, but that's okay. My show, I'm supposed to be biased. It's my podcast stuff. I'm supposed to be biased. And I want you to take a lesson, obviously, from what I'm doing right now is I'm just kind of riffing. I'm not really caring too much about what people think. It's not perfect. It's not edited. It's not polished. I'm not scripted. I'm literally looking at my screen. I looked at the description I wrote for YouTube, threw that into my intro because I'm like, that would be a good intro. So I did it. And so that's one thing I want you to take from this a little bit. Beyond that, let's jump right in today for today's video. And so what we're jumping into today's video is I was recently talking to a couple of podcasters on Threads, and I'm not going to share their details or anything like that. But they were asking me some questions, and I was giving them some advice, right? So they asked me a few questions. The first one that I'll jump into is if you were starting a podcast today with 0 followers, what would you do differently? And if what I said to that is if I was starting something differently and starting over, which kind of is this whole channel on YouTube is all starting over, I would say that, man, it's so hard to say just one thing. But if I was starting today with 0 followers, the one thing I would absolutely do differently is I would talk to other people who are in the same space as me and pick their brains and try to build some community around me before starting. I would try to build an audience before even hitting release, publish, whatever you want to call it. I would build an audience, I would build a crowd, I would build something around kind of my content already, whether that's engaging on social media, whether that's engaging like on Threads or X or Instagram, wherever you feel most comfortable and going with it from there. I would make sure that I have a plan, make sure I know my niche, know what my structure is going to be from the very beginning, because structure and predictability is everything. It's so important. I'll probably tell you why in a different video, but not this one. I said I would literally have probably a 1 month, a 3 month, a 6 month, and a year layout all ready to go, kind of like a business plan for whatever you're doing, launching your podcast for. I would make sure that you have a 1 month plan, and then what's your 3 month plan, your 6 month plan, your 9 month plan, and your 12 month plan. Break it up however you want, but you need to get to that year for what your plan's going to be. Make sure it's all laid out, what your growth strategy is going to look like, what your build out's going to look like, and when you're going to introduce new things. So if you are going to be planning on introducing like a newsletter, maybe growing to Patreon, maybe growing to this, that, and the other, you have to be very intentional about those things and have them kind of planned. So then, A, you don't burn yourself out, but B, you make sure that it makes sense with kind of the path that you're on and it makes sense for the audience and the show that you're building. I've seen it done before a couple times where someone launched a podcast just on Patreon. Interesting. It's a bold choice, but it can work. But again, that's where your plan comes in, your 1 month, your 3 month, your 6 month, your 9 month, and your 12-month plan. You have to have plans along the way. And then I mentioned one thing, probably the actual number one thing, I think I mentioned it third here in this response, is workflows. Workflows are everything. Workflows are your best friend when it comes to a podcast. making sure you know, like, what day you're gonna record, what days you're gonna edit, what days you're gonna do social media, um, research or whatever is pertinent to your podcast, but creating a really strong workflow. Reason I say that is because there's a lot of different elements that no one tells you about when you start your podcast. There's the branding, there's the social media, there's the recording, there's the editing. Most people think, okay, I'm gonna record, I'm gonna edit, I'm gonna post. But then you also think of social media. You think of social media engagement. You think about commenting and building and all that fun stuff all around that. Creating a YouTube channel, creating a Spotify account, creating your RSS feed, getting that connected and all those different moving parts. And not a lot of people talk about those. Everyone wants to encourage you to start your podcast. They don't want to talk to you about those parts that they don't tell you about, right? That you don't think about. I learned all those on the fly, and I can tell you they were definitely overwhelming. I didn't have a good workflow, but you got to have good workflows for when you're going to record, when you're going to be like posting your social media, planning your social media, cutting your clips, all that fun stuff. Just workflows, having ideas of what that's going to look like. And then, of course, giving yourself more time than you think you need. If you think you're going to need an hour, give yourself an hour and a half. If you think you're going to need 20 minutes, give yourself 40 minutes. Give yourself an hour, maybe, right? Give yourself that extra little bit of cushion time because it's better to have extra time left over that you didn't need than need more time that you don't have because you're trying to squeeze everything in. And don't rush the process. There's no point in rushing the process here. This is supposed to be something that is for you. So if you're in a rush, are you even going to like your product at the end of it? Probably not. So don't rush your product. There's no point. Just take your time, slow it down. You got this. It's okay. And the second question they asked is, what is one thing successful podcasters consistently do that beginners often overlook? And that's, again, workflows. I feel like once you've been in a podcasting a long time and you've been around the block a few times, you understand what your workflows are, how much time it actually takes. And so that's why I'm telling you workflows and giving yourself more time. I think that's what makes a successful podcast. It's not so much about when you do it all, but it's just about having a system and a process that works so you can stay consistent. Consistency is key when starting a new podcast. So that's why you got to make sure that you're up on it, that you're paying attention, that your workflows are strong and they're steady and they're consistent. Because if your workflows aren't consistent and they're not built out and planned, then your show is going to fail before you even get to episode 10. That's just the reality of it. And that nobody wants that. I don't want that for you because you probably have a great show, you have great ideas, but you just have terrible workflows. And that it is what it is. If you do, you do. Let's fix it, kind of thing. Even if you're an experienced podcaster, let's fix it. Let's fix your workflows to make your life easier. Get into using AI. Get into using the tools that are out there. They're out there and they're tools for a reason. Use what your hosting platform, your recording platform offers you, whether you're on StreamYard, Riverside, Zoom kind of thing. Use the tools that they offer you in those platforms to make your life easier. There's tools, there's ways to make your life easier and to cut some of the headache of all the editing out for you. Next, and third and final question here, what is the most common mistake you would see beginners making that we should avoid from the start? And really, that's when it comes to not having a plan. Not having a plan of attack, not defining your niche, and not having a structure set up. I'm telling you, you gotta have structure and organized. There's not one podcast that's out there that's not structured, that's not organized. When you listen to, let's say, Joe Rogan, you know exactly what his structure is, who kind of people he's going to talk to, what he's going to talk to them about. He's going to sit down, have a multi-hour conversation with them, and the structure is pretty consistent. He's going to ask them questions, they're going to respond, they're going to dive deep, they're going to laugh, they're going to get off topic, they're going to go back to topic, they're going to go back and forth and just have a really great conversation. And then you go to like the fantasy footballers, you know exactly what to expect every day of the week. You listen to their other podcasts, Spitballers, you know exactly what to expect every day of the week. You listen to a show like Young Dad Podcast, you kind of know what you're going to get. You're going to get a great intro. You're going to get a little bit about the guests, their story in that intro, and then you're going to hear a great conversation, and then you're going to end with the dad zone, and then it's going to close itself out. It's a very simple, consistent structure of episodes, but you gotta be consistent. You gotta be consistent. Same thing with like Bussin' with the Boys. These are all podcasts I listen to, so that's why I'm mentioning them. Like Bussin' with the Boys, you know exactly what to expect in that show. All their different shows, you know exactly what to expect with the locker room. You know exactly what to expect with For the Dads. Like these structures of these episodes are consistent and they're set up so that they can deliver time and time again. The content within those different sections are different every time, but you know exactly what to expect when you tune in, what you're going to get out of that episode and what each part's going to be. It's not going to throw you off. That's where I think most new podcasters are all over the place. They do one thing in episode 1, a different thing in 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, and they're trying to find their flow and whatnot. Do some practice episodes. See what the heck you like. See what you didn't like. You don't gotta post them. You don't gotta use those for your first episode. You can just use those for fun, for promotion, to cut clips, to get comfortable finding your workflows. But you gotta have a good structure. Try new things, but do it off camera. Try to keep things as consistent as possible. Maybe take out a section of your podcast, replace it with something else. So then the main structure of everything's the same. Your beginning, your end, your middle, all that is the same. If you interchange different parts, that's okay. But don't do the whole show differently from show to show to show to show. That's going to confuse your listeners. And your topics have to be consistent as well. They can't go from topic to topic to topic to topic to topic. And you can't expect your audience to be able to keep up with everything you're talking about. Trying to integrate different things. Trust me, I tried that. It failed miserably. And ain't nobody want to fail miserably. It's no fun for anybody. That's all I really wanted to share with you guys today from this episode in particular. The reason that I wanted to share this from this episode in particular is because I felt it was important to talk to communicate with you guys about, because we're learning these things on the fly. We're starting out together, and I want you guys all to be successful, no matter what stage of podcasting you're in. Whether you're brand new, whether you're experienced and you're looking for help to grow, take that next step, reset, do things different, I want to help you. If you go to the description of this video, or if you go to the channel homepage, you'll see my link tree. You'll see my opportunity to book a free 30-minute call with myself. You can do that at any time that I have available on that calendar. I'd be happy to sit down with you for 30 minutes, free of charge, to kind of talk about things and see if we're a good fit. I'm not just going to try to pitch you, sell you, things like that. I want that 30 minutes to be productive and useful to you. And if we can find a way to work together, many different pricing options, great. If you want to get in on a full coaching session, the full 8 to multiple week coaching session, starting at 8 weeks, you can. If you want to do a group option, we can. If we want to do different things, maybe you only need a little bit of help, you're an experienced podcaster, great. Let's figure out something that we can do hour by hour kind of thing. If you're wanting to learn new tools, great. Let's learn those new tools that I can help you with. I use a very select set of tools that I found to make my job as a podcaster a lot easier to bring good content. I'm using one of them right now to create this video, um, which I love. It's so much fun, so easy. I'm going to be recording this video in 1080, but I'm actually going to be exporting it in 4K. Pretty cool how that works. Yeah. Other than that, I would love to help you. I would love to be a part of your podcasting journey. I know there's a lot of different people out there. So the reason that you should work with me is just because I'm just real. I'm going to keep it real with you. I'm going to keep it a buck. We're not going to overdo it. We're not going to go crazy. I'm not going to try to sell you the sun, moon, earth, and stars, because that's not realistic. But I'm going to give you real practical advice, things that I feel work really well. Take them for what you will and apply them. And from there, hopefully, we turn into a great success together. Other than that, I hope you have a wonderful evening, a wonderful day, whatever time of day it is. Take it easy, and I'll catch you right back here on Pod Launch Coaching with Coach Jay.